There are at least 3 ways to build most EDH decks. Strong, just fun, and mean. Let's look at the strong, fun, and mean ways that I would build Breena, the Demagogue. And the video starts right now.
Special thanks to our Patreon supporters who power our channel. Check out our Patreon for monthly giveaways, exclusive content, and even a starring role in our fan fight series. Link in the description below.
Hello and welcome to the day. Thank you for spending your time with us. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. I am Joel. Today we are going to cover Breena the Demagogue and the 3 ways that I would build this commander. But before we do, if you would go down there, hit that like button if you like the video by the end of it. Hit that dislike button if you don't. Let's take a look at this commander. Breena the Demagogue, 1 black, 1 white, 1 other for a 1/3 bird warlock with flying that says whenever a player attacks one of your opponents, if that opponent has more life than another of your opponents, that attacking player draws a card and you put 2+1/+1 counters on a creature you control. Well, there's a lot to parse there. Breena has this built-in incentive that makes your opponents want to attack your other opponents as long as they're attacking a player that doesn't have the lowest life total. They'll be drawing a card and you'll be putting 2+1/+1 counters on a creature you control. Along those lines, the strong way that I would build Breena is incentive politics, and I want to play a bunch of cards that incentivize your opponents doing their bad stuff to other opponents and not us. For the fun way, I want to lean into flyers, and I want to use Breena's ability to put 2+1/+1 counters on creatures you control to have a very strong presence in the air. And for the mean way, we're going to go with a can't touch me strategy and build a pillow for it using all of Breena's incentive politics. Let's take a look at the strong way. With the strong way, I want to go incentive politics, so we're going to have a lot of curses and a lot of vows that are going to make our opponents want to attack our other opponents. And I want to start with Calculating Lich because this card fully encapsulates the idea here. 2 black, 4 other for a 5/5 zombie wizard with menace, and it says whenever a creature attacks one of your opponents, that player loses 1 life. So we're already getting our opponents to attack our other opponents just through a little bit of an incentive. Another way that we can do this is through curses like Curse of Disturbance, 1 black, 2 other for an aura curse enchant player. Whenever enchanted player is attacked, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Each opponent attacking that player does the same. So our opponents can get just free zombies by attacking our opponents. Similar thing with Curse of Shallow Graves here, also 1 black, 2 other. Whenever a player attacks enchanted player with 1 or more creatures, the attacking player may put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield tapped. So we get to allow our opponents to grow their army, grow their side of the battlefield just for not attacking us. And hopefully over time, these add up to bigger incentives for the opponents and bigger gains for us. The vows are really good in this deck because of that 1 line of text, can't attack you or a planeswalker you control. You can have it on your creature to use those abilities, or you can enchant your opponent's creatures and just make them unable to attack completely. Vow of Duty, +2/+2 vigilance and can't attack you or a planeswalker you control. Vow of Torment, +2/+2 menace, can't attack you or a planeswalker you control. There's lots of ways to do that. I like Goad in this deck too because Goad, they have to attack each combat if able and attack a player other than you if able. Eventually they'll be able to get you, but that's once there are no other opponents on the battlefield, so these are great. +1/+1 and Goaded with Martial Impetus for a white and 2 other. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, each other creature that's attacking one of your opponents gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So we even give them this little anthem ability when they attack another opponent, which with Goad they have to do. Parasitic Impetus is another version of these, +2/+2 and Goaded, and whenever enchanted creature attacks, its controller loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So it's a little bit of love and hate spread all around with this one. We've also got Bloodthirsty Blade, which I've played against a few times now and have really grown to like. 2 mana for equipped creature gets +2/+0 and is Goaded, and for 1 mana you attach it to target creature and opponent controls. Can't be at instant speed, but not really that big of a deal because it's 2 mana to play and 1 mana to equip. This is a great equipment because you can keep using it and keep goading a creature even once that first creature has left the battlefield. Crown of Doom I think is really fun and silly in this deck, and I'm definitely going to run it in Breena. 3 mana for an artifact. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. And for 2 mana, target player other than Crown of Doom's owner, us, gains control of it. Activate this ability only during your turn. So it's this crown that our opponents have to then like pass around for 2 mana and say, you know, I don't want this, I want somebody else to have this incentive on them. So it's this strange little tax, and I think it would be fun to play. That's the strong way that I would base this deck. Let's look at the fun way and go with flyers. Strategy here is once you've got them incentivized to attack our opponents, we're going to then be attacking from the air so that we have more of a chance of getting through. So far as Sky Blade, 3 white, 4 other for an angel, 7/7. But the big deal here is you can pay 1 mana and tap 4 untapped creatures you control with flying rather than pay its mana cost. So you can ramp Sephara out onto the battlefield by having flyers in the air. Flying and lifelink and other creatures you control with flying have indestructible. Sephara would be top end of a deck like this. You would also want to play cards like Court of Grace so that you're constantly filling up your sky. 2 white, 2 other for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you become the monarch, and at the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying, and if you're the monarch, you create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying instead. So you've got this residual effect on a sticky permanent that's just going to be creating flyers into the air all the time until it's destroyed. Luminarch Ascension is a 2 mana enchantment at the beginning of each opponent's end step. If you didn't lose life this turn, you may put a quest counter on Luminarch Ascension. Note that that checks at each opponent's end step. And then once you've got 4 quest counters on it, you can pay 2 to create a 4/4 white flyer straight up. This card is bomb, and it's going to be a target as soon as it hits the battlefield, but if it does get triggered and it's ready to go, it's absolutely ridiculous. Bitter Blossom is similar to both of these cards. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and create a 1/1 Black Fairy Rogue creature token with flying. Just residual flyers in the air. We want to be pumping the sky full, having a lot of creatures up there so that we can grow them and attack through. Maria Angel's a 3/3 for 4 that has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you can create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. We want redundancy on this ability to create a bunch of flyers in the air so that then we can take advantage of that when we have a big attack ready to go. Silverwing Squadron is interesting, and it's a card that came in the Brawl packs from Eldraine, if I'm not mistaken. I don't see it played a lot, but I do think that this card could be very good in the right deck. 6 mana for a star flying vigilance human knight. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures you control, and whenever it attacks, you create a number of 2/2 white knight creature tokens with Vigi equal to the number of opponents you have. Just further redundancy on a token strategy, so we can be taxing our opponents, incentivizing them to attack each other, and pushing through in the air for a lot of damage. Sorin Solemn Visitor, I love because of that +1. Until your next turn, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain lifelink. A repeatable, if the Planeswalker doesn't get ace, way to grow your creature's line power. Just have your entire go wide in the air strategy all powered up by 1 each, plus have lifelink. Very, very powerful. It can also create tokens, and if you can get it to -6, you get an emblem with at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep. That player sacks a creature. So good Planeswalker in this deck in my opinion, but this is really the bread and butter right here. Ethereal Absolution, 6 mana for an enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Creatures your opponents control get -1/-1. And for 4 mana, you can exile a card from an opponent's graveyard, and if it's a creature, you create a 1/1 white flyer token into the air. This is what I'm talking about. This is what we want to be doing. With this strategy, you would also run some other Anthem effects so that your entire line's getting +1/+1. But Ethereal Absolution is my example of what you would want to do once you've got a bunch of flying power in the air. Sigil of the Empty Throne is 5 mana, and it says whenever you cast an enchantment spell, create a 4/4 angel creature token with flying. I wanted to end on this one because it pivots really nicely into our next section, which is the mean pillow fort kind of build, and that has to do a lot with playing enchantments onto the battlefield that protect you. So Sigil of the Empty Throne would be great to kind of fill both strategies, create flying tokens and also pillow fort up. So with Pillow Fort, Sphere of Safety is the strategy. 1 white, 4 other for an enchantment. Creatures can't attack you or a planeswalker you control unless their controller pays X for each of those creatures, where X is the number of enchantments you control. So pretty clearly, we are going to pack this deck full of enchantments that also protect us residually, so they stack even harder with Sphere of Safety. Ghostly Prison, 1 white, 2 other. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. Boom, there you go. Marchese's Decree, I really like this because it's very synergistic with the entire deck. 1 black, 3 other. It enters the battlefield, you become the monarch, and whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, that creature's controller loses 1 life. So it's just further taxes. We're incentivizing them to attack each other. We're taxing them if they do attack us. This can be a really mean deck. Windborn Muse is basically Ghostly Prison on a stick. 1 white, 3 other for a 2/3 spirit flyer. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature he or she controls that's attacking you. Just further redundancy. Blazing Archon, if you can get all the way up to 9 mana, creatures can't attack you, period. 5/6 flyer just says no. This is a pretty ridiculous card, but it could be the top end in a deck that's solely focused on doing this. This card, though, definitely belongs in there. 2 black, 2 other for No Mercy. Whenever a creature successfully deals damage to you, destroy it. So basically, we've been providing incentive for them to attack our opponents, and now we're de-incentivizing them from attacking us. You want to come at us? Okay, fine. You're going to have to lose that creature if it gets through, but come on over. Can't wait to show you the place. No Mercy definitely belongs in this deck. And lastly, Teysa, Envoy of Ghosts. This sort of brings it all the way back around to incentive politics and 1/1 tokens and growing wide while we incentivize and de-incentivize. 1 black, 1 white, 5 other for a 4/4 human advisor with vigilance and protection from creatures. And whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, destroy that creature. Put a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token with flying onto the battlefield. It's a little bit No Mercy. It's a little bit the fun way that we built it. And the whole time they are de-incentivized from attacking us because we have a 4/4 blocker that can't die from creature damage. That's the strong, fun, and mean ways that I would build Breena the Demagogue. Let's close the book. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know how you would build this commander. I think it could be really political, and at first glance I was like, okay, this is fine, but upon further inspection I'm really excited about this commander. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button on your way out. Other than that, I'm tapped out, and I'll catch you later.